right, guys, so the mainstream liberal media is upset, right? They're mad about things they're basically always mad about. But the number one thing that they're actually really mad about nowadays is the fact that they become irrelevant, okay? The fact that there are alternative platforms that are outperforming some of their best shows, okay? And the fact that right-wing media, particularly news channels like Fox News, shows like Tucker Carlson, are just thoroughly outclassing all of their best shows as well. In fact, take a look at this clip of a segment from The Hill that shows that Tucker Carlson's reruns, 1 a.m. reruns, are getting more viewers than Don Lemon's primetime 9 p.m. show on CNN. Take a look.
Mediaite and Showbuzz Daily ranked some primetime cable shows, and it's looking grim for CNN. Fox News programs, including The Five, Tucker Carlson Tonight, The Special Report with Bret Baier, and Hannity, took the top spots, with each show gaining millions of views a night. And other Fox programs followed suit until the 18th ranked program, MSNBC's Deadline White House. CNN doesn't appear on the list until the 25th spot, with their noon show, Inside Politics, which pulled about 900,000 viewers.
On top of it, the chart also showed that more viewers tuned in for rerun 1 a.m. episodes of Tucker Carlson than they did for Don Lemon Tonight at his primetime slot. So, yikes. Not looking so good for CNN.
Yeah, that is embarrassing. That is super embarrassing for Don Lemon, okay? That Tucker Carlson's 1 a.m. show, right, and during a time in which most people in this country are asleep or about to go to sleep, gets more viewers than Don Lemon's primetime slot. Again, this is an indictment on not just Don Lemon, but CNN in general, as all of their shows are getting beat by most Fox News shows, right? Like, Fox News is just absolutely dominating viewership, right? It's absolutely incredible. But, I mean, I guess this makes sense because, honestly, I haven't done a reaction video to anything Don Lemon has said in a long time, right? I haven't done any reactions to Don Lemon. That just goes to show how irrelevant he has become, okay? And how far off CNN has fallen. I mean, that network truly has collapsed, right? And again, this is why these people in woke mainstream liberal media, that's why they're so upset. They can't figure out why in the world is somebody like Tucker Carlson, somebody that they've deemed as a white supremacist, why is this person getting more viewership among even Democrats, right? As there was a study that was put out that showed that in demographics age 25 to 54, Tucker Carlson actually got more Democratic viewers than Rachel Maddow, who is the top liberal news anchor on television, period, right? More Democrats watch Tucker Carlson than Rachel Maddow. Again, absolutely embarrassing, right? Absolutely embarrassing. But again, they're wondering why this is happening. But again, it's not just that they're losing to conservative mainstream news channels like Fox News and shows like Tucker Carlson. They're also feeling the heat and the pressure from alternative media, okay? People like Joe Rogan, who they went on a crusade against, right? Because he's a spreader of misinformation. But the real reason why they don't like him is because his viewership is more than their viewership, right? He is competition to them, and he doesn't come from a traditional journalistic background, which really, really, really pisses them off, right? So with that being said, what I want to talk about here is a segment from MSNBC that really shows you how upset these people are that they are losing the viewership battle. Again, not just to networks like Fox News, but also to alternative media. As in this segment with Joe Scarborough and woke friends, they basically deem social engagement on platforms like Facebook with media outlets like the Dailywire or with conservative influencers like Candace Owens, they deem that to be a threat to democracy, and they call for government intervention in regards to forcing these social media platforms to censor political opinions that they don't like. Take a look.
You know, I've talked to a lot of former Republican friends of mine, and, you know, we're we sound like Democrats now when we're around the table talking. What do we do about it? What? You know, we always used to joke about how Democrats would go, we don't deserve good things. You go, okay, well, then you just take it. Yes, it is. Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
There aren't enough. No, but there is a mindset. If you're a Republican and somebody spreads lies about you, you go after them. You annihilate. You annihilate them. You don't sit around and go, oh, my God, it's just not right. So you worked for a political operation. You worked for a White House that knew how to do it right. What do you tell the people that are running both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue who, when I'm alone with them, are going, well, they just lie. What can we do?
Well, I think the problem around this is getting worse every single day. The media, the right-wing media advantage, this disinformation propaganda operation is so much more powerful now than when I worked in the White House.
It's getting bigger.
It's getting bigger.
It's flourishing.
Yes, and
Metastasizing.
Cancer, that is a perfect metaphor for what we are dealing with. And it is, I think, what we have to do is radically rethink how we communicate. Everyone has a role to play here. Democrats have to be more aggressive. We have to invest in building up our own megaphone to compete with Republicans. We need to, and we know that doesn't mean we build our own Fox News. It doesn't mean we run away from the mainstream media, but we have to invest in progressive outlets. The media, I think, a lot of people in the media have to rethink how they deal with people who lie for a living. And then the social media companies have an obligation to do more. We can't rely on them to do it on their own. And so this is where Congress and the regulators have to step in to think about how we regulate these algorithms that are pushing this disinformation for profit.
Totally.
So Dan,
Time and again, these social media companies are behaving in a way that we would never allow any other company to behave. And by that, I mean, 50% of Americans get their news from Facebook. Would we allow CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite in the 60s when he was so dominant in the 70s to deliberately spread lies, channel them through Russia, or deliberately spread healthcare lies? I think the government would pull their FEC license. Why can't we pass basic regulations to make these companies be more transparent about the algorithms that spread the lies on everything from COVID to January the 6th?
We absolutely should be able to pass them. We actually have to pass them. I think these social media companies are in many ways the tobacco companies of this era. They're exploiting loopholes in the law to deeply damage America. It just connects to your cancer metaphor.
Yes.
And with little to no regulation. And so we absolutely have to do it. The reason that it is hard is it is right now not in the interest of a lot of Republicans to do it. If you go to Facebook on a daily basis, the posts with the most engagement are from Ben Shapiro, Dan Bongino, Candace Owens. It is right-wing content. It dwarfs progressive content. It dwarfs mainstream media content, which is actually should be the part that scares us the most, that Ben Shapiro's Dailywire has more followers and engagement, many times more than the New York Times or CNN. That is a problem for democracy.
So are you saying that, like, the Republican agenda is backed up by the freaks on Facebook, and so they don't want to do anything about it?
Absolutely. It is.
Just making sure.
Yes. To be very clear, is that Facebook is the most powerful messaging platform for the extreme MAGA message that benefits the Republicans. They have very little. They like to cry about Facebook and big tech, and then they just laugh their way to the bank when Facebook pushes their message, including the big lie, all across, into people's cerebrums all across this country.
So
that's just so much to break down there, because that is a classic case of if you can't beat them, then cheat, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. We can't beat these conservative news outlets or these alternative media outlets on the internet that share their content on Facebook that people engage with, that people share. We can't beat them, so we're going to call them an attack on democracy, which at this point, I don't think these people actually understand what democracy is. I think democracy has now become, well, anybody that disagrees with us, right, the mainstream liberal opinion is an attack on democracy. Let's actually get the government to bend the rules so that we can put content out there that people don't really want to engage with, but we're going to force them to actually view that content, right? So they can censor speech that we don't like. That's what they're asking for in a nutshell here, okay? Again, they're calling the Dailywire and people like Candace Owens, and the fact that people engage with the Dailywire and Candace Owens, they're calling them an attack on democracy. Again, isn't that fundamentally how democracy works, right? People have the right to engage with things that they like. They're basically voting with their engagement, and that content is promoted. Again, these people don't understand how these mainstream media platforms work. Okay, these mainstream media platforms are already censoring conservative content. They're already not trying to promote conservative content. However, what's happening is that in order for these platforms to make money, they still have to put engaging content in front of people. And what's happening is that conservative content just truly is more engaging, and people tend to like that. They tend to share it more than liberal content or mainstream media content, right? That's what's happening. I'm sorry if conservatives support their media outlets and their influencers more than liberals support theirs. I mean, hey, it is what it is, because that's what's driving the engagement. That's what's driving the algorithm. That's what's driving it. It's the fact that people share. It's the fact that people like, the fact that people comment. So again, are you calling for people not to be able to share, like, or comment on content that you deem to be misinformation? That you deem to not be true, even though the mainstream liberal media puts out the most disinformation / misinformation than anybody, okay? Specifically talking about Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, who I did a video about all the disinformation she put out there. Democrats, again, they feel like we should only have the right to spread misinformation / disinformation. We can say whatever we want all day long about a Russian collusion hoax that has been proven to be straight up disinformation from the Democrat Party, from the Clinton campaign. We can push that all we want. But if somebody says something that we don't agree with when it comes to COVID, whether it's right or wrong, right? You know what? That should be censored, right? Again, these people simply just want a monopoly on speech. That's what they want. And I wish they would just come out and just say it. Just say, hey, you know what? We just want a monopoly on speech. We don't like the fact that our viewpoints aren't popular, and we just want a monopoly on speech. Just say it. Just say it. Because we all know that that's what you want at the end of the day. Stop pretending that you already don't have the infrastructure to put your voice out there. You get liberal views dominate mainstream liberal media. They dominate mainstream. Every mainstream news channel, again, outside of Fox News, is liberal. ABC is liberal. NBC is liberal. Even channels that are backed by the government, like PBS, they're liberal. They all have liberal slants. All of you. So don't sit here and try to talk about, oh, we need to build a megaphone and more infrastructure for progressive news outlets. All of y'all progressive. But if you want to talk about actual, like, the progressive outlets, nobody cares about those either. Look at TYT. They're struggling. They're struggling without their boogeyman Trump. Just like mainstream liberal media is struggling without their boogeyman Trump. At the end of the day, you guys over-relied on attacking Trump, and that is what you made your bread and butter off of based off the last 4 years. And now that you don't have your boogeyman to attack anymore, now you're suffering and you're saying, boo-hoo, we don't have Trump around, so now we have to try to find a new Trump. Again, they tried to make Elon Musk the new Trump. They tried to make Tucker Carlson the new Trump. That didn't work. Now they're like, hey, boo-hoo, we need the government to step in and to rig the system so that people will be forced to watch our content even though they don't really want to watch it. That's basically what they're saying. That's what they're saying. We can't beat them, so we got to cheat, right? That's what they're saying. But again, I wish these people would just come out and just say what you actually really think. You actually really don't believe in people's rights to express opinions that are different than yours. You don't care about what's right and what's wrong. You don't care about what's misinformation, what's disinformation. Because if you did, you wouldn't be pushing misinformation, disinformation. But again, networks like MSNBC have no problems pushing that on a nightly basis. They don't have any problems with it. And then they wonder why people don't want to watch them. People like Tucker Carlson and alternative media outlets get views because people are sick and tired of the mainstream liberal media and the establishment narrative. That's what people are sick and tired of. All you guys go up here every single night and all you push is Democrat Party propaganda or establishment propaganda. That's what you push. And people just don't want to watch that anymore. They don't want to hear that anymore. They want alternative viewpoints. And until the mainstream media decides not to be so mainstream all the time, they're going to always suffer from a lack of viewership and lose to networks like Fox News and alternative media outlets like Joe Rogan or the Dailywire. They will always do that. But again, they don't want to self-reflect. They don't think they're wrong, right? They think everything they say is right when it's just not. It's just not. And that's why they're not getting viewers. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.